the book of Ezra and Nehemiah. These two books are together because they are part of the same story. The Israelites had gone to Babylon under captivity. Now they are coming back to Jerusalem. Let's see how this unfolds in the books of Ezra and Nehemiah. So the book of Ezra picks up where the book of 2nd Kings finished off, where King Cyrus of Persia issued a decree allowing the Jews to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple. So Zerubbabel leads approximately 50,000 exiles back to Jerusalem. Accompanying him are priests, Levites, and other families. Upon arrival, the exiles begin to rebuild the altar and lay the foundations of the second temple. Besides this triumph, there is a setback, and local adversaries, including the Samaritans, oppose the rebuilding, and the temple remains unfinished for years. King Darius then issued an order to search the archives stored for Cyrus' decree, and upon finding it, King Darius enforced the decree. This is after research had been done and the archives had revealed that King Cyrus had indeed issued this decree. So the elders of the Jews continued to build and to prosper under the preaching of Haggai and Zechariah. And then they finished the temple according to the command. At this point, Ezra comes into the picture. He is a skilled scribe and priest. He arrives in Jerusalem with a group of exiles. He is committed to teaching the law and restoring proper worship. However, there was intermarriage of Jews with the surrounding nations that was noted as a violation of God's command. So they separated from foreign wives and adhered to the Sabbath and festivals. This was good and bad because now they had chased their wives away. So Ezra emphasized the importance of proper worship, and he also re-established the Levitical priesthood in Jerusalem. Then we jump on right into Nehemiah. Nehemiah, he was serving as a cupbearer to the king Artaxerxes of Persia, and he hears about the dire situation in Jerusalem, and the city walls are broken and its gates are burnt. So in this distress, he prays and asks the king for permission to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the walls. The king grants his request and also provides resources for the journey. And upon arrival, he inspects the walls. And he then organizes people to begin the building. Nehemiah faced oppositions from the local leaders like Sanballat and Tobiah, who mocked and threatened the builders. Despite this, Nehemiah encourages the people to remain steadfast and to continue the work. So after the wall is completed, Nehemiah learns of the exploitation of the poor by the wealthy Jews who are charging high interest on loans. Then he confronts the nobles and calls for justice, leading to cancellation of debts. So the people gather to confess their sins and renew their covenant with God. They commit to follow his law and separate themselves from foreign influences. Nehemiah reinstates the Levitical priests and the musicians, ensuring he ensured there is proper worship, and of course they were observed in the temple. That's been the book of Ezra and Nehemiah. Of course, you see a rise and fall because Zerubbabel would lead them, and then there would be a discouragement for the rebuilding of the temple, but Ezra would come. He would also encourage the proper worship, but there would be a discouragement when their wives were sent away. And also in Nehemiah's case, he would rebuild the walls, but he would also face opposition of some kind. However, the Israelites are now back to Jerusalem and practicing worship as had been commanded in the law of Moses. Next, we'll see more in the book of Esther.